Welcome to Vialet Studio, where Vialet and her guests share stories of their passions, inspirations, and spiritual journeys. Vialet creates a sacred and fun space for individuals to be able to share information about themselves, their work, and their community. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet. Vialet Rayne.
Well, welcome to Vialet Studio. I am so excited. I have Travis, Warrior Unicorn, with us today from Washington. I believe that's right. It is Washington, right?
Correct.
He's going to be coming in to visit us in Denver very soon. So we're very excited for our October fair. And we're hoping we can pull him back even more often to come in and kind of hang with us. So Travis, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to get to connect with you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Awesome. So talk to us a little bit. How did you get on this spiritual journey? What led you down to the path to what you do today? Because I find there are lots of similarities for folks out there that are finding themselves guided down these paths. So share with us your story.
Well, I think, like most people, when I was 6, I played with a Ouija board. And no, so funny, actually, my grandmother did have my grandmother on my dad's side did have a Ouija board that we would play with as kids. That has nothing to do with this journey, but I always enjoy sharing that I did play with a Ouija board when I was young. No, I have always just been drawn to spirituality. When I was younger, I used to love going to church for the community aspect, for the powerful messages that I would receive as I grew up, and just discovered that the Christian faith and church wasn't really where my spirit was really gravitating towards anymore. I wasn't really getting that deeper connection just, from growing up gay and in a small town in Ohio. It really kind of started to hit me that some of those messages, that they weren't resonating. And so for a while I felt kind of a little lost, but still kept my faith that there was something bigger than me that just kept kind of calling me back. And so I would bounce around from, church and having conversations with friends about God and spirituality and these, big, like, existential, what does this all mean conversations. And I walked into a metaphysical store back in Ohio. Gosh, how old was I? I had to have been 14 or 15. And I remember seeing all the crystals and the tarot cards and was just so fascinated. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm home. This is it. And, I remember coming home with a tarot deck and, my mom having, freaking out. And so that kind of ended my journey for a little bit, or put it on pause, I should say. And as I grew up and went through my own personal struggles, I found myself back using tarot cards and divining rods. And honestly, I'm not even sure how I got back down that path. I'm sure it started with a piece of rose quartz, right? Because that's how it always starts on every journey. And then, next thing you know, you're working with divination tools. So over the past couple of years, I've really honed into that side of that piece of myself that is divinely connected and is that more spiritual side of myself. And with that time of diving into that came the awareness of psychic gifts that I believe we all have. It was just my time to tap into them. And so as of recently, within the past year, my time in developing those has been more and more, and being able to work with people and do readings for others and help others along their path has been an amazing blessing of this past year.
Well, and I love that. And I watched another video of you on awakening Awkwardly Zen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where you're talking about coming out multiple times, right? You've come out multiple times. And when we think about that as spiritual beings, we have to drop our cloak at some point. And it is a coming out of, here I am. And it can be scary and frightening. And you've done that several times. What would you tell people that are scared to come out and be their authentic self? What recommendations would you have?
For me, it was that realization that, I'll tell you just this quick little story of how, and this story has been the story that I carry with me, and really has helped me. It actually came from a youth pastor. My mom, when I was first coming out, my mom was having a hard time accepting the fact that I am gay. And so she took me to a youth pastor to have a conversation with me, and he sat me down, and he, typical like youth pastor, he's like in his 30s, wearing a backwards baseball cap, flipping the chair backwards and straddling it and looking at me, having this like cool conversation, right? I think he had on like some t-shirt that said like, Jesus is my homeboy or something like that. He's trying to relate to people my age, and it was super funny. But he looks at me and he says, Travis, your entire existence, all of eternity, is this really long, never-ending cable. And your life on this cable is this tiny little sliver. How do you want to fill that razor-thin sliver? And I stopped for a second. I was like, you're right. I'm going to come out. There's not a lot of time. and that wasn't he. And he was like, no, that's not the point I'm trying to make. And I'm like, but it's the point you made. And so that's just how I have lived my life. And what I have found to be the best way for me is just to live it. And, I think people are always going to judge or have an opinion. And I think that's a barrier that a lot of people carry, is that fear of the opinion of other people. Mm-hmm. And so every time that I feel myself judging myself for the opinions of others, that's kind of my signal to push forward and to continue and to lean into what feels authentic and true for me. And that's, for me, has been very freeing. Mm-hmm. I know that's not everyone's experience. Even today, I was at the gym, and I work out at a very kind of like conservative gym, and there's a lot of military, and one of the gentlemen was just asking, I had on like a t-shirt that was like a funny like psychic t-shirt, and he looks at me and he goes, oh, what does your shirt mean? Like, are you a psychic? Haha, like you making a joke. And I felt like fear, and I felt judgment, and the only way to silence that judgment for me in that moment was to look at him and go, yeah, actually I am. And what's so funny is he started this whole conversation about how, he believes in spirits, and he has always felt like there's something. And so, I push past that. And when I push past that, I actually find myself genuinely surprised at how people react. Of course, you're always going to have some people that that have a differing opinion or a different view, but most of the time people can be very supportive and surprise you.
Yeah. And I tell people, it's a storm right now, right? It's a little bit of a storm, but if you go through the storm, there's sunshine on the other side. You just got to walk through the storm, and you're never walking through it alone. Your guides, your team is rooting you on as you walk through that storm, right? But you just gotta go through it. And there are two energies on this planet, love and fear, and you just gotta step into love and let the fear go. And I know it's hard. I used to be an HR executive and a college professor in my previous life, and when we decided for me to open this center and do this, we had some really powerful conversations with family and friends, because when I step into this, especially my husband, I can't go back. There's no going back. Yeah. So if we're going to do this, nobody's going to hire me as their human resource person. very few companies are going to take that on, of this psychic medium coming in and being their HR person. College is not going to hire me to teach college classes. They're going to be a little concerned, right? Not to say that there's not change happening, because we're seeing it. If you get out into the world, there are big shifts happening. It amazes me every day when I go into businesses and stores, and over in the corner, they have the incense or the sage or the tarot cards, and they've got this corner section, right? We're seeing it pop up everywhere, right? People are starting that shift. Are we there yet? No. But I think the more of us that awaken, the more of us that drop our cloak, the more of us that step in, we're really pushing the collective energy, right? To embrace, to look at it. The kids today are hungry for this stuff. You know, you talk about at 14 walking in a store. I have teenagers in my store almost every day. They're hungry for this stuff. And their parents are coming in going, I don't know anything about this. I don't know what this is about, but I'm here to support them, right?
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see that shift that's happening, because like you, I went to church. I raised my children in Southern Baptist. And if anybody understands Southern Baptist, your Ouija board, your mother, mine was the horoscope. If you read your horoscope, you're going to hell. Do not read it, right? Yeah. There would have been no way there'd have been a Ouija board. I'd have freaked out like your mother did. So my oldest daughter hid her tarot cards because she knew I would have lost my noodles if I'd have known she had a deck of cards, right? But look at the shift, look at the change, like look at where we're going, right?
It's so good to see this be normalized, because truly it is normal. There is nothing, I don't necessarily believe in normal. However, there's an exception to that. I think the most normal thing is to connect to who you are divinely. Mm-hmm. I think that's just a beautiful part of the process of being human, is getting this awesome discovery of, oh my gosh, there's so much out there for me to explore and dive into, and to do self-reflection. And even if at the end of the day, it just makes you a better human, then that's fantastic. Even though I don't believe that's the only purpose, but I think it's beautiful. And I love seeing platforms like TikTok give people the space to discuss spirituality in such a wonderful way.
So talk to us about your TikTok platform. So I'm not on TikTok, so I'm probably a lot older than you are. So talk to us a little bit about TikTok and why you chose that platform and what drew you into there.
Spirit. It's all spirit. I would love to take credit for that, but I can't. I was just a player in it. It was not me so I started TikTok during COVID, I think most people, not everyone, but most people did. It's just a thing to download because it was fun, and we're all at home, and what else are you going to do but watch people make these really great videos. And so I started filming little videos and doing the little dances, and and it was fine. It was fun. But I did a TikTok live. So on TikTok, you can go live, and I go live and I'm just talking to people that were following me and just having a conversation. And there were maybe 10 or 15 people in this conversation in this room. And I've got an oracle deck sitting next to me. And source just guided me to start doing readings and start pulling cards for people. And so I did. And then the next thing you know, this room has over 200 people in it. I don't know where all these people came from. And then the follower count starts going up, and then I start doing, and then at first I wouldn't own it. I would post a video of me doing a reading. I'd be like, I'm not a psychic. I'm just pulling these cards, even though I knew that wasn't true. But it was another thing for me to come out as. And I had at the time, and still have, a few friends that were just very insanely talented and gifted psychics. And they were like, "You're psychic, just come out, just tell people it's okay." And I'm like, "I can't, I'm scared." and then I did it. And it was very much like coming out when I was a teenager, coming out as gay, because it was this just, here I am. And you're absolutely right. Once you're out, you're out. There's no going back, especially on social media, because it's there. It lives forever. When I was a teenager, we did not have these things. And so you could do whatever you wanted, and it did not live on the internet forever. Unless it was like, unless you were arrested and it was public record. That was it. So eventually I think it took me like maybe 2 videos before I was like, yeah, I'm a psychic. And then, so then I started doing these reading videos, and then the follower account came, and then I got requests to take private clients. And I remember reading for my first client, and I was so nervous. I think I was more like, she was like, "I'm so nervous." And I was like thinking to myself, "Oh my God, I'm more nervous than you are. This is my first time." And I remember how it felt after reading for her, for both of us. And so I just decided, I was like, I'm doing this. And I just, and it hasn't even quite been a year on TikTok. And I'm so grateful that this was where I was led. And so that platform has really allowed me to connect with people just in a way that it was just different. And it's a different way to connect with people. And it gets people messages that they need to hear in just in a really cool way.
I love that. So how often are you on there? Do you have like a schedule, or what? How is it that you do this?
Yeah. So, like you, I also have, I'm also a business person. So I marry the spirituality with the business. And so I do put myself on a posting schedule. So I will post 5 videos a week. I post Sunday through Thursday. And then timing permitting, I will do 1 live a week. That's usually the goal, just so I can connect with people and do some quick readings. But personal time on that app, I don't spend hardly any time. Like, I post a video and I just get off, and then I'll pop on to like respond to comments. And then I'll like a lot of comments, and I'll comment back, and then I'm off the app again.
People don't realize social media can really, it's a big thing to stay active and live. What people don't understand is what it takes to record, edit, upload, download, get things ready, go back and respond. It's a lot of work. It's very rewarding, but it takes a lot of time to do that. So kudos to you. 5 days a week is a big commitment. So I love that you're doing that. So I think that's very cool.
Thanks. It's very fun. If I could go back and tell my, scared 14-year-old self that this is what we were going to be doing, I think that part of me would have been really excited. But I'm very thankful that this is something that I get to do just every day.
Every day you get to go and help people and connect.
Yeah.
And do all that. So very cool. Well, I am so looking forward to getting you to Denver. And for those listening, he does have a website. You can schedule a personal reading with him. He would love for you to follow him on TikTok. And it is amazing. I've looked at several of your videos. I think they're so awesome. And so you pulled us all in here. I want you to know, everybody on my staff, yesterday when we were going to connect, they're like, "Tell Travis we all said hi. Tell Travis we all said hi." So they're all excited to see you come to town and get to meet you in person. So I think you've gained some followers here in the center, and you'll continue to gain from our community. But they're all like, "Tell Travis we said hi." Because I've been showing your videos to everybody. Look at his videos. Look.
Oh, I love that. It was so funny. I was in my local Metaphysical store the other day, and the girl working behind the counter, she was like, was staring, and I thought like she thought I was shoplifting, because whenever I go out shopping, like I look, like I'm in like a baggy sweatshirt and like gym shorts, and she's like staring, and I get up to the register to pay, and I put my things on the counter, and she goes, "Are you on TikTok?" So it's so fun. It feels like when I meet people that are like, "Oh my God, I love your videos." I see it, like, I feel like we're friends. I'm like, well, you already know everything about me. So, it's nice to, it's really cool. I'm very thankful for what TikTok has allowed myself and other creators to do, and just get to know other humans.
I love that. I love that. You're famous, Travis. You just don't know it. Just wait. Go to the grocery store and somebody walks up to you and go, "Are you on TikTok? I love your TikTok." And you'll be like,
yeah. Well, it's so funny because it's like, and it's happened a few times. It's always like so quiet. It's like, "Are you on TikTok?" I'm like, "Are we being bugged? What's happening?"
They're going to come around the corner with a camera. It is kind of funny because we have videos playing here in the center, and I do lots of videos, and people will come to the store and go, "Are you Vialet?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I think I am." Awesome. Yeah, last time I looked, I was. Or we do 2 big expos here a year in March and September in Denver, and I'll walk through the expo and people will stop me in the aisle.
I love it.
"Are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah.
It's really nice to meet you. I love that.
It's so cool.
It is. It's really cool. Well, Travis, I cannot wait to meet you in person. I hope that you love Denver and you'll come and see us more often and just come and hang out. We would love that. And so those of you that are watching, thanks for watching our show. Check out his website. Check out his TikTok. Follow him and have a great time. He's a lot of fun. You won't regret it. Travis, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you, Vialet. It was my pleasure to be here.
Have a great day, folks, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Vialet and how she can help you discover your spiritual gifts, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com and on YouTube at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. You can also send a personal message to Vialet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you really soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.
Discover connection, awaken sacredness, become empowered, come experience a day.